Hello everyone and welcome to Learningkeda. In our previous series, we have talked about the basic, introduction about what is psychology. So here we'll talk about the schools of psychology and why it is important to study. Okay. So the first one is a structuralism. Structuralism, it is the known as the first school of thought in psychology. Okay. So basically, structuralists they focus on breaking down any mental processes into basic components. Whatever you are studying, we try to break down into small components. Okay, and some of the major thinkers associated with structuralism with includes Wilhelm Wundt, Edward Teichmann. One of the technique that is used by structuralists is the introspective experimental technique. That means they try to, the trainers, they observe or examine their inner responses through this technique. Okay. So using this approach, they also, it is also known as experimental self-observation. That is the way you observe and analyze your own thoughts. The next school of thought, next school of psychology is known as the functionalism. Okay. So it focuses on mind's function, that is how our mind is functioning and how we adapt to the environment. Okay. The functionalist school, they are interested in the purpose. What is the purpose of a thought? Why are you thinking like that? What is the purpose behind it and our behavior? Why it is happening? What is the purpose of it? Okay. So the question on it, the main purpose. Whereas structuralism, they are concerned with the elements. Okay. The third school of psychology is a Gestalt psychology. So, this approach to psychology began in Germany and Austria during the late 19th century. Okay, so what happens in Gestalt is that they focus on the whole rather than the sum of its parts, and this is known as holism. For example, if I ask you to define a tree, if I show you a picture of a tree, you will see that it's a tree and not that it has leaves, it has something, right? You will approach it as a whole rather than parts. Whatever we see, it is in a whole, a whole aspect. So that is known as holism. And some of the thinkers associated with Gestalt school of thought include Max Whitmer, Wolfgang Kohler, and Kurt Kafka. Then the next is behaviorism. As the word suggests, behaviorism, that is something to do with our behavior, right? So behaviorism, it became a dominant school of thought during the 1950s. Okay? And the major thinkers in behaviorism includes John B. Watson, Ivan Pavlov, and B.F. Skinner. So behaviorism, it says that all of our behaviors, that is the way you are behaving, it is a component of the environment. It is explained by the environmental causes, okay, rather than the internal forces. The way you are behaving, okay, it is because of the environment, the way you are born and brought up. Okay, so that is about behaviorism. The next is psychoanalytic. Now, this is one of the most dominant field of school in psychology, and it was founded by Sigmund Freud. So, basically, just try to understand that this field, this school focuses on the unconscious mind. Now, what is unconscious? Unconscious is something you can't, that is something you are not aware of. Okay. For example, like consciousness. If I ask you, what did you have for dinner? It's very easy to recall, right? However, if I ask you about something that you are not aware of, that is termed as unconscious part of human mind. So psychoanalysis, they focuses on the unconscious part of mind. And other major thinkers who worked upon psychoanalysis includes Emma Freud, Otto Rank, and other neo-Freudians such as Erik Erikson, Adler, and Karen Horney. Now, Freud believed that human mind was composed of three elements: okay? Ego, and superego. We will discuss in details later on, but then let us just understand what is ego and superego, right? Now eat. Just try to remember that eat. It always work on pleasure principle. That is, they don't care about society. They don't care about any values. They don't work on national values. They just want to satisfy their immediate gratification. That means, they don't think logically. You can say they just want to, you know, uh, satisfy their pleasure. Now, ego is something that works on rational principle. For example, if you want something, you just cannot grab it, right? You will have to think logically and then do it. Now, superego, which works on moral functioning, that is your values, your cultural values, and everything. Okay, morality. So it works on moral values. So that is the difference between ego and superego. Then let's talk about humanistic. So humanistic psychology, it is one of the most basic school, basic and most simple, school of psychology. It's not very complicated, and it was developed as a response to psychoanalysis and behaviorism. Okay, so the development of this school of thought in psychology was heavily influenced by the work of humanist thinker, that is Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers. Okay, so and Karl Marx. So while early schools of thought were primarily centered upon abnormal behavior, that is, they work on your, aggressive drive, impulses, and all. But humanistic psychology, it is very different. It helps in achieving their fullest potential. Okay, so later on we will discuss in details on each school. So just try to have an idea that humanism focuses, it helps people achieving their fullest potential. Okay. Next is a cognitive. As the name suggests, cognitive or cognition, that is the your decision making, judgment, thinking, all this comes under cognition. Okay. So it is a school of psychology that studies mental processes, including how people think, how we learn, how we remember. Okay, so cognitive psychology, it emerged during the 1950s, and it is mainly to deal with how we think, how we behave. Okay, so thank you. This was about the major schools in psychology, and in the next series we will be discussing in details about each school. Thank you.